The Shade, number 11, written by James Robinson, art by Fraser Irving. Last issue we left off with two giant Egyptian-looking deities busting out into central London and effectively rampaging through it. And this issue picks up with that. And we see a whole bunch of superheroes that come in. I think it's all ones that are like specifically London-based, but also characters who we've seen throughout this thing of the Shade. And then we see a guy named Beaumont, who apparently is indestructible. I can't remember if we've met him before, but he jumps out of a helicopter and he goes down to attack the gods and he just gets swatted away. And it's just like, well, guess that means it comes down to little old Shade. So then Shade goes through this whole thing, recounting like the whole series and all the things that he's learned over the course of his journey. So he says, my time in Australia, I learned to open a door to dream time. In Spain, I learned a new level to my shadowy powers, as well as the power of a pentagram. And so what he's going to do is he's killed a lot of people in London throughout the years. So he was able to just pick out a random pentagram from there, refuse it by killing a couple of like ne'er-do-wells, and then have the spell guy, whatever his name was, Silverfin, cast the spell that allows him to get like a hell of a lot more power. So he uses that in order to basically attack the gods. And what he's going to do is use his shadowy power to throw them into basically the dream world. So he does that. And he says like, yeah, they're kind of like distracted because, you know, they've been cooped up for a while. So that's the only reason I'm able to do this at all. If they were fighting back even the slightest, I wouldn't be able to. But he uses his powers and he transports them across dimensions to the dreaming, another plane, another place. But when he gets there, he's there with them and he turns out, oops, this ain't the dreaming. This is some other place entirely. And they're like, where are we? And he's like, I don't know. You guys have so much energy. We probably overshot the dreaming by like a couple dimensions or whatever. Also, you guys were rampaging through London. I shouldn't be talking to you. You guys suck. And they're like, yeah, okay, let me. Then they do like a back and forth because it's just they're in another dimension. Nobody can hurt anybody here. So they do a back and forth of basically him asking the questions of like, where'd you come from? And they're like, another planet? Yes, no. It's like beyond time and space. And he's just like, okay, so you're interdimensional travelers. Why were you here? And they're like, oh, we're here to catalog. Like, we just come here and take notes and do whatever. But we got caught. Like your people like trapped us, and as such, the portal was closed. We got stuck here, and so we decided to make a vacation of it. But then you guys trapped us, and then once you let us out, we kind of went a little bit cuckoo, because, I mean, who wouldn't after all that time? And they're like, okay, well, if you guys have the power or whatever, why not just go back to your own dimension? It's just like, well, I mean, because we interfered, we broke our central tenet. And therefore, if we go back, we will be killed. So I guess we should go back. And Shade's like, wait, what? You still want to go back even though you'll be killed? And it's like, well, yeah, we're immortal beings or whatever. But like, we would rather live with our own people than die with you weird little hairless apes. And at that point, Shade is like, okay, I'm getting a moral out of this, but I'm just going to send you guys to your own dimension. I'm going to need your help, though. Just like focus on it and we'll get there. So he focuses super special hard and sends them back to their own dimension. And, you know, he makes some sort of thing of like, was that like, how does that apply to me? Because I am also, as far as I know, immortal. And I'm going to see all these people that I get to know die around me. And so I'm not like, should I be spending time with my own sorts of people? Like, or should I be spending it with people who are apparently beneath me? He's trying to figure out where he falls in that. But he talks to Silverfin briefly and just says like, yep, that's that. And I think I'm going to stick around here in London for a while. I've got one more thing to do. And then he goes and he kills Dudley. Because of course he kills Dudley. Dudley was a dick. So he's like, yeah, but you know, I can't help but thinking, if I never got my shade powers, would any of this have even happened? Like, would my family have gone down this darker path, or would they just be like an average family? I don't know. Oh well. But I did become the shade. I am the shade. I can't change that. So maybe it's time I finally talk about my origin. And then next issue, issue 12, the origin of the shade. which I guess has been shrouded in mystery. Could have fooled me. I had no idea what was covered in Starman. Genuinely no. So if this is the first time we're getting this, cool, sweet. It was good. I think it was a solid, because that's the thing. This book has always been talk rather than fight. It's never been a show of strength. Like, the strength is just there to so that you know Shade is never in any actual real, like, danger. But it's always just been outthinking and then talking to the opponents. And that's what ends up getting it through in the end. So this is perfectly in line with everything else the series has done up to this point, and I really did enjoy it. The art of that extra dimension was fantastic. It did a great job of like splitting faces, and it was all circle based. It was very interesting and very well done on Fraser Irving's part. So overall, I give this issue, I give it a 7.5. Because while they do come out and have the talks and stuff like that, the talks are basically just the exposition of the Egyptian deities. They're not so much looking inward on the Shade. And I know there was that last thing of like, oh, should I be fraternizing with people that are beneath me or should I be with people like me? But I don't know. He seemed to just brush that off so quickly. It didn't really seem like anything actually introspective. So maybe we'll get that next issue. Maybe that'll be where all the introspection comes from. But this one, the philosophical leanings were a little bit light, but I loved the way that they played with the dimensions, and I like how they covered the Egyptian deity stuff. So all in all, it worked. It was just a little bit lacking in that one regard, which is why 7.5 feels about right.